Good evening, everyone, and members of the public. My name is Mally Rosado. I'm the council president for the Court of Common Council in the city of Hartford. I am calling to order this regular scheduled council meeting of Monday, January 25th, 2021. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Bermudez.
Present.
Councilman Clark.
Present.
Councilman Gale.
Here.
Councilman LeBron.
Present.
Councilman Mitchum. Councilman Mitchum. Councilwoman Rosado.
Present.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Here.
Councilman Sanchez.
Present.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And now, Mr. Clerk, would you please lead into the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Again, I want to thank everyone who's on this panel today, our council colleagues, our members of the public. Today we have two personal privileges that are going to be done before a regular council meeting. The first point of privilege is by Councilwoman Rossetti and Councilwoman Surgeon. You have the floor.
Great. Thank you, Madam President. Through you, Madam President, I would like to use our point of privilege to acknowledge our dear friend and over 20 years employee for the city of Hartford, Patricia Williams. She's no longer with us. And so I wanted us to talk to the community and to, I believe her family is with us tonight. Her longtime partner, Mary Young, and I believe her son is visiting with us through the technology. Oh, Jason, are you here?
Yes.
Oh, nice to have you. Nice to have you. Just want to let you know that I've met your mom back, Marilyn, when we first came to City Council, I think 99, 2000. She was a city manager, deputy city manager at the time. And walking into the City Council and not knowing anything about how government run, she was so helpful in navigating how we get around City Hall. And the young man I worked for was the management and budget chair. And she sat me down out of her time, took her time on the weekend and worked with me and explained to me how the budget works. I just couldn't have survived walking in with no experience at City Hall without her help. After she retired, we again started working together in the neighborhood. She loves Upper Albany neighborhood. She was involved with the Upper Albany Neighborhood Collaborative. And so we worked together there on the board and very involved in the neighborhood. Let me tell you how your mom's Saturday starts. So last summer, that was the last time I ran into Pat. And at the time, Councilman Clark with his organization was doing a COVID testing. And we were going to do voter registration for the upcoming presidential primary. And she was really into making sure everybody in the community was registered to vote. So this is a typical Saturday for Pat Williams. She meets us at the park. She did voter registration. By midday, she went on to help out with the farmer's market. After the farmer's market, she finished her day by delivering meals in the community. That was a typical Saturday for Pat. That she exemplified what it is to be a woman who actually helps in our community. So I want to offer you and Mary and the rest of the family my heartfelt condolence for a young lady that we don't know what we're going to do without, because she knew everybody. She knew everything. So there is a piece of us which is missing, that we didn't know how much we depended upon her to help us out in the community. So thank you for joining us. Marilyn?
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Shirley.
when Shirley and I spoke about trying to put together a point of personal privilege for tonight to honor Pat Williams, again, Shirley and I spoke when I came to council 20-something years ago. There was Pat, deputy city manager. First of all, I loved seeing this woman as deputy city manager. I came from a company full of, men at that time and probably still, but that's another story. And there she was, smart, brave, partner. And that's how I got to meet Pat. And then Pat, was just always a part of the fabric and a part of our lives. Everything she did, I was thinking about the Dutch Point work through the Housing Authority, just everything she did. It was like Pat knew how to do it. It was like, oh, now Pat's doing this. Now she's running this. And I was, as Shirley and I spoke this weekend, I was trying to think about maybe the last time I saw her. And unfortunately, you take for granted when you see people. You don't think it might be the last time you see someone, particularly during these times. So I can't really remember the last time I saw her, but I know every time I saw her, I was so happy to see her with that smile, with that face. So, we wanted to make sure not only that her family knew, but the community knew and that the city knew that really she was a fabric of our lives, and a piece of that fabric is torn now and she's gone. So,
Yeah.
Really, I don't know if you want to start with the...
Oh, yeah, Jason, and if Mary is on behalf of the council, we are going to send you, unfortunately, in the unprecedented time that we're living in, we have to send this to you in the mail, the memoriam on behalf of all the council. I'm going to start reading it, and Marilyn, I think, will finish up. Is that okay, Marilyn?
Sure.
Okay. So on behalf of the City of Hartford Court of Common Council, in memoriam, be it hereby known to all that the City of Hartford and the Court of Common Council extend its sincerest condolence and expression of sympathy to the Williams family on the passing of Patricia May Williams. Patricia May Williams, a dedicated civil servant, loving partner, musing mother, caring grandparent, thoughtful sister, advocate for her community, avid reader, proponent of education and spiritual soul, has been called home. Patricia May Williams, through her belief in the community, involvement, sacrifice, and shared responsibility, dedicated herself to reshaping our city for the better. After relocating from her hometown in Des Moines, Iowa, Patricia Williams moved to Hartford and began her career in 1973 as an urban planner for Capital Region Council of Government, writing zoning and land use regulation for cities and towns in the area. Following a 3-year period as a town planner at the town of Glastonbury, in 1978, she became the director of City of Planning for the City of Hartford, the first woman, the first minority, and in both positions as city planning, the head of city planning, and as the deputy city manager. After over 20 years as director of planning and subsequently as as deputy city manager, she was introduced to many organizations across the city for which she would volunteer from that point up to her passing. After retiring in 2002, Ms. Williams continued her important work in the community. She worked to rebuilding one of the city's public housing development as project manager and led the relocation and redevelopment of Dutch Point Colony Housing Development Loan. From 2003 to 2008, Pat Williams Ms. Williams also used her keen eye for city planning to aid in the beautification of Hartford's park and green spaces as an original member of Knox Greater Hartford Green Team. And I did not know that. I think that exemplifies Pat Williams. Marilyn?
Yes.
You want to continue?
Until her passing, Ms. Williams participated on many levels for a multitude of organizations, primarily in the Upper Albany neighborhood. She was very active with the Upper Albany Neighborhood Collaborative, serving on the board from its inception and headed innumerable programs. Additionally, she was involved in Upper Albany Neighborhood Revitalization Zone, University of Hartford Park Committee, Upper Albany Development, Inc., Hartford Housing Authority Westbrook Village Local Planning Committee, the Leadership Roundtable, and the Anti-Litter Campaign. Ms. Williams was a beacon of hope and a light in our community. Her laughter, her love of debate, that is true, and discussion, her affection for plants, and her wonderful voice, which she used in a choir in her community, will be greatly missed. Ms. Williams leaves to cherish her memory, her life partner of 23 years, Mary A. Young, son Jason Williams of Berkeley, California, stepson Eric Calloway of Enfield, Connecticut, sisters Barbara S. Williams and Sharon K. Brown of Des Moines, Iowa, grandsons Rock Williams and Zen Williams of Oakland, California, and an extremely large host of relatives, friends, and the community. Introduced by Councilwoman Shirley Surgeon and Councilwoman Marilyn Rossetti, given on this 25th day of January 2021, and I know I speak for all my colleagues. I also would like to take this time, I don't know if Mary or Jason would like to say something. Please don't feel you have to, but if you do, we'd love for you to say something.
Sure. I'd say my mother's love for Hartford and just in general was it ran deep. As a kid, I grew up in City Hall, like from when I was 8 years old, and even when they moved the offices behind G Fox, I was always downtown, and I heard about every project that was going on, even when I didn't know what she was talking about. All the players and people involved, and I definitely met a lot of people that knew my mother in the city that would say, I always say this, they would say, "Do you know who your mother is? Do you know who your mother is?" And I'm like, "Yeah, she's my mom." They're like, "She's a very important person in the city." And I was told that from when now I'm 50 years old, and just it's amazing. I used to go to council meetings when I was a kid, sit in the back and go and have to go to the hallway eventually because I'd be bored to death as a kid. But it's amazing that all the work she did in the city and how important it was to her, and to hear people talk about it online and social media and here is just, it's amazing to me because she truly dedicated her life to, helping people in the city of Hartford.
Thank you, Jason. Mary?
I have to echo Jason when he indicated that she loved Hartford. I'm a native born resident of Hartford, and I've learned more about my city from her than I did growing up in it. She loved it. And, I met several of you, and I have met several people through, our 23 years of being together and being out in the city. I too am very involved with Upper Albany, and will continue to do so. Only because I love it and in her honor, because that's, she really wanted the communities to be able to work with local government and have a partnership. And that's the bridge that she forged and built, and definitely want to be there to make sure that, especially in Upper Albany, we continue to be that way. So, but thank you, and for allowing us to be here to hear what you're saying. It's wonderful to hear.
Thank you. Council President?
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, John and Jason, and our heartfelt, again, condolences for a woman that is going to be truly missed, our go-to person for everything. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thanks for honoring my mother. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And again, our deepest condolences. Next on the agenda is a point of privilege from Councilman Gale. Councilman Gale, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This evening, I want to reintroduce to Council one of our appointees who's been out there in the community and working hard to bring the arts, bring letters, and bring spoken word to various members of our community. It's our poet laureate, and Frederick Douglass Knowles, who I believe is now in his third year, if you can believe it. I think he's just started his third year, which will end this year in 2021. So we've asked him to come and give us a little brief update as to what our poet laureate's been up to. Mr. Knowles.
Thank you, John. Thank you, City Council, for having me be part of the meeting and so forth. Can everybody hear me okay?
We
Yes.
can.
Okay, I just want to make sure the technology is working. Yeah, so I have just completed the second year of a 3-year term as Hartford Poet Laureate, and I just want to say that it's been a huge honor. It's really provided me the opportunity to network with a plethora of people from different walks in life, paths of life, from youth to elder, community service, churches, schools, libraries, you name it. So it's been a wonderful opportunity, and I wanted to check in with the City Council. I know I check in roughly about every year or so forth, or a few months. COVID's been happening, so I've kind of been a little bit quiet. I had emailed the council an update of my CV as far as events that I have been partaking in since my appointment. It's been revised from my first year, so I added on to it. And so at this current time, I'm very fortunate to say and blessed that I've been able to share poetry with about 90 appearances as of November 15th of 2020. It was roughly last year, I think around about 70 or so. And I still have some more actually that are scheduled to occur with as Nantucket Community College coming up, with Camorra's Cultural Center here in Hartford, and also with the Coast Guard Academy coming up as well. So it's been a great opportunity to partake in these events. As you know, this year they have been virtual readings, so I haven't been able to do any interpersonal interaction. I am currently going to be working on a 5-minute video with Mark Twain House for youth on writing poetry, writing prompts. I'm going to be partaking in as well. I've been also blessed to work with agencies such as the Fatherhood Monologues here in Hartford, Connecticut. Also working with them with the project about fatherhood and so forth. We actually filmed the video. I've been able to film about 3 videos this year. One with First Hartford for 4th of July, Independence Day. The video I shot, poem called For a Day about my father. We filmed it with the Fatherhood Monologues. It was also part of the the Kennedy Center had a national arts forum. It was part of that as well. So it's been a great opportunity to, again, be able to utilize the platform, the appointment of Poet Laureate to actually extend my passion of poetry and community service to as many people as we possibly can reach. I won't hold you long. I just want to give you a quick update, and then I believe John would like me to read a poem, so I'll read a poem for you. And then I'm just checking on my CV here to make sure I cover things. And the last thing has been also to, I've been able to, there's been some articles written that's brought attention to the appointment, and of course to Hartford as well. And if you have a copy of the CV, all these are part of that as well. And then I've also had the opportunity to work on my current manuscript that I'm going to read a poem from. And 2 of the poems have been nominated for a Pushcart Prize, which is a very big prize. And so I didn't win last year. I didn't get that prize, but I'm nominated again this year. So I want to really keep my heart crossed that I win that prize. That will be another great milestone for Hartford as well. So I'm going to end on this poem. I think that's a good recap and so forth. I don't want to take too much time. There's several publications as well that you can take a look at. I'm going to end this or read this poem from the part of the manuscript. It's titled Without Sunglasses Anymore. And this poem actually is part of Connecticut poet laureate Margaret Gibson received a grant with, I think, the National Endowment of the Arts for her program Green Poets Anthology. And so it's a collection of poetry paying homage to the earth, Mother Nature, and so forth. And so I submitted this poem to that anthology, and it was accepted. So it will be published in the Green Poets Anthology. So it's titled Without Sunglasses Anymore. We used to be best friends. You couldn't wait for me to bolt off the bus, toss my books and venture. We were night and day. We were night and moon. Excuse me. We were night and noon, moon and sun. Nothing I would do without you. Hide behind that 18th hole, snatch golf balls, slip into brooks, leap bold streams, BMX my bike over makeshift pyramids, pick berries, play hide and go seek, hot peas and butter, red light, green light, kick the can, freeze tag, football, and that's my car. We used to be the best of friends. Rendezvous up Oak Ridge Knoll, run, catch and kiss behind Uncas School, moonbeams bouncing off bodies. Then I changed, no longer had time, became too busy, complained about the weather. What happened to how we played? Melrose Park, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I no longer talk to you except to wipe the tears falling from God's cries. I'm sorry I don't stare without sunglasses anymore. I'm sorry a snowstorm sends me inside instead of the front yard, to cookie cut angels into your frosting. I'm sorry your daughter Autumn makes leaves fall to feed worms, and I rake them for aesthetics. We were best friends since kindergarten. Then I grew. I thought. What I really did was wither, shrank into schemes of rich and popular, ignored your poplars logged illegally for corporatocracy, pollutants dumped into ponds I pitched rocks into. I used to feed the ducks with my daughters with you. Now I duck from seagulls fertilizing your maternal shore. Melrose, I'm sorry. I miss our summer bike rides, blackening my melanin. I miss your woods, Jane arms unfurling into an equinox. I miss poison ivy, skunk cabbage, pussy willows, dandelions, tadpoles, black ants, black red ants, horseflies, dragonflies, houseflies. Not houseflies, but I miss lifting trash cans, watching maggots I want to fly dance. I miss digging earthworms to watch them squirm, then burrow back into your bosom. I miss seeded grapes, sour apples, ripe tomatoes, collard greens, okra. I miss Gammy's rosebush. Now honeybees vanish with no trace. So who's going to pollinate your purple hibiscus? We used to be best friends since kindergarten. But when I traded my playground for PlayStation, tire tube for YouTube, I never knew I'd miss skyscrapers of uncut grass, tickling my inner child while sleeping under a quilt of dreams, squinting without shades, as tiny purple dragons soar your lemon summer smile, searching for the friend who built castles from sand. And that's, of course, an homage to Mother Nature, an homage to childhood and so forth, and that inner child that we may or may have not forgotten. And so we become so busy with ourselves in adulthood that we really, really don't really stop to smell the roses that much anymore. So I really thank you for the opportunity, Councilman Gale, City Council, again, for having me. I have less than a year left of this appointment. If there are any questions, comments, concerns, ideas for projects or collaborations And feel free to email me at hartfordpoetlaureate@gmail. I'm willing to, put as much work as I can in this last year. And I just want to say in closing out that I did not know Mrs. Williams. I didn't have the honor of meeting her and so forth. But to her son, Jason, if you would like, I would love to just chop it up sometime and learn more about your mother and so forth. She sounds like a true pillar of Hartford. And if I could help to pay homage in any way, then I'm more willing to do so. City Council, thank you very much. God bless. Ashe.
God bless.
Wow, John, we've got another Amanda Gorman with us. That's awesome.
Hartford Zone.
Yeah, he's really good. It's like, wow. Good job.
You're on mute, Council President.
As I was saying, Mr. Douglas, it's always a pleasure to have you here on council and hear your poetry. This concludes our point of privilege segment. To Mary and Jason, again, our deepest condolences. Mr. Knowles, thank you for presenting. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And now we are going to proceed with our council agenda for this evening. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Pick up the heartbeat.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
That was great. Yeah.
That was great. Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we suspend the rules to add item number 20 onto our agenda, which is a special Operations Management Budget and Government Accountability Committee report with a company resolution amending the amended settlement agreement to extend the time by which Shelbourne Properties can respond to the Historic Preservation Commission's concerns and obtain the necessary permits and approvals.
Second.
We have a motion that's been made and properly second. Are there any comments, any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Bermudez.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilman LeBron.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the minutes of the January 11th, 2021 meeting.
I second the motion.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions, any comments, any discussions, any comments? There being none. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Bermudez.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilman LeBron.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we consent the following items. Item number 4, Mayor Bryan with a company resolution authorizing the city of Hartford to accept ongoing payments from the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving to support in-person child care for approximately 300 Hartford children in kindergarten through 3rd grade with working parents and caregivers. Item number 10, Quality of Life and Public Safety Committee with accompanying resolution confirming the appointment of Clarissa Lee, an attorney, to the Police Accountability Review Board. Item number 11, Quality of Life and Public Safety Committee with accompanying resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept a grant in the amount of $299,949.81 from the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office for the enforcement of impaired driving and offenses. Item number 12, Operations Management and Government Accountability Committee, report on ordinance amending Section 32-18 to extend the elderly tax relief program to elderly Hartford homeowners for taxes due on the grand list of October 1st, 2020, and increase slightly the income limits for eligibility of the municipal code. Item number 16, Operations Management Budget Government Accountability Committee with a company resolution amending the amended settlement agreement to extend the time by which Shelbourne Properties can respond to the Historic Preservation Commission's concerns and obtain the necessary permits and approvals. Item number 18, Public Works, Parks, and Environment Committee with a company resolution that will authorize the city to enter into an agreement to replace its old golf cars and service vehicles with upgraded electric golf cars at Keeney Park Golf Course. And item number 19, Public Works, Parks, and Environment Committee with a company resolution authorizing the 2021 fees for the 2 city-owned golf courses in Keeney and Goodwin Parks.
I second the motion.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any comments, any discussions? Any comments, any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Bermudez,
Yes.
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilman LeBron.
Mr. Clerk, if you could please note that I'm saying yes, but I'm recusing myself from item number 4. So yes to all items, recusing myself from item number 4.
So noted. Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I would like to make the motion that we receive the following items. Item number 6 with the replacement Public Works, Parks, and Environment Committee communication concerning the presentation of a comprehensive overview and explanation of the Hartford Parks Trust Fund. Item number 7, Quality of Life and Public Safety Committee communication concerning the presentation by Hartford Police Chief Thody over the topics of Hartford Police Department Citywide Weekly Report, Firearm Recoveries, Citywide Camera Update, Car Break-ins, MCD, Text Message, Diversity and Cultural Competency Training and Discipline. Item number 8, Quality of Life and Public Safety Committee communication concerning a presentation by Hartford Fire Chief Freeman over the topics of COVID-19, PPE, quarantine, insurance services, office, final rate, winter storm, recent community partnership. Captain Barco went over all the topics of fire stat up to November 2020, fire response scorecard, citywide EMS response scorecard, citywide emergency response data, EMS by NRZs, rescue calls by NRZs, Narcan administered by NRZs, all fires by NRZs, locations of structured fires, relation to fire stations. Item number 9, a report from the Planning, Economic Development, Housing Committee on ordinance chapter 22, article 2, division 5 to increase commercial non-residential parking lot licensing fees and add commercial non-residential parking garages to the licensing requirement of the Hartford Municipal Code. Item number 17, Operations Management Budget and Government Accountability Committee with a company resolution to appoint Patricia Marulanda to the Internal Audit Commission as council's designated appointee. And item number 20, which is a special Operations Management and Government Accountability Committee report with a company resolution amending the amended settlement agreement to extend the time by which Shelbourne Properties can respond to the Historic Preservation Commission's concerns and obtain the necessary permits and approval.
I second the motion.
A motion has been made and properly second. Are there any comments, any discussions? Any comments, any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Bermudez,
Yes.
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we refer following items to the said committees. Item number 1, Mayor Bronin with a company resolution confirming the appointment of Zoe Chatfield to the Hartford Parking Authority be referred to the Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee. Item number 2, Mayor Bronin with a company resolution authorizing the city to accept $590,000 for repairs to the City of Hartford's traffic signalization system from the State Department of Economic and Community Development be referred to the Operations Management and Budget and Government Accountability Committee. Item number 3, also to the Operations Management and Budget Government Accountability Committee, Mayor Bronin with a company resolution regarding the $2 million grant for the reconstruction of Bartholomew Avenue, which would change the source of the local match to reflect the latest planning. Item number 5, to the Planning and Economic Development and Housing Committee, the Mayor Bronin with a company resolution confirming the appointment of Zoe Chatfield as an alternate member of the Historic Preservation Commission.
Second the motion.
A motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions, any comments, any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Bermudez,
Yes.
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we postpone the following items until the February 8th, 2021 meeting. Item number 13, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, appointments of department head requirements, Section 850, residency requirements of the Hartford Municipal Code. Item number 14, with substitute ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 18, Section 2-860, motor vehicle policy of the Hartford Municipal Code.
Second.
A motion has been made and properly second. Are there any comments, any discussions, any comments, any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Bermudez,
Yes.
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale, Councilman
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we take action, to postpone indefinitely item number 15, which is a second substitute ordinance amending Chapter 22, Article 2, Division 5 to increase commercial non-residential parking lot licensing fees and to add commercial non-residential parking garages to the licensing requirement of the Hartford Municipal Code.
I second the motion.
A motion has been made and properly second. I guess we do have comments or discussions. Councilman Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, Madam President. I just want our audience and stakeholders to understand that when this proposal to postpone indefinitely happens this evening, this does not mean that the ordinance is going away. What this does mean, in my opinion, and what I'm looking for, is that we will sit at a table with our business owners in downtown, especially wherever these parking and are affecting them and their customers, so we can have a great and good conversation and an understanding on the importance of working with the city, working with the businesses, and also we're waiting on the study from the Hartford Parking Authority. So I think it's a combination of things that we have to look at before we do go back and rework this ordinance. And that's one of the reasons why I'm supporting this, to postpone it indefinitely until we do get to that point. And I'm sure we will by I would say by August. So I'm looking forward to working with everyone on helping make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Sanchez. Councilman Gale.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam President. What a change 2.5 weeks makes. As the council agenda notes in item 9, this ordinance was before council's PEDH committee for a second time on January 6th of 2021. After hearing considerable testimony from parking lot operators, owners, and others, combined with the previous testimony that we heard at public hearings and at public comment and prior committee meetings, the PEDH committee voted 6-0, 6 in favor, no opposed, with 1 abstention, to send this ordinance back to council with a favorable recommendation, with the condition that the effective date be January 1st of 2022. Item number 15 on our agenda does in fact reflect that change, making the increase in parking lot fees effective January 1st of 2022. However, here we are tonight with council about to take the, I'm going to call, extraordinary move of postponing the ordinance indefinitely. I say that because in 5 years on council, I've never seen this used. Robert's rules, which I consulted to find out what this meant, states that the object of the motion to postpone indefinitely is not to postpone, but to reject. And it is made by enemies of the matter. So here we are, 3 months after the fee increases were co-sponsored by all 9 council members, and 2.5 weeks after a 6-0 favorable vote out of committee, and the council wants to kill the proposal without further debate, Councilman Sanchez notwithstanding. What changed? What changed? Certainly not the conditions downtown. No, what changed is the full court press imposed by the parking lot owners and operators and others who see only short-term harm to their pocketbook. I implore my colleagues to take a longer view. Look at where Hartford has gone over the last 30 to 40 years. Plan for the next 30 years. We owe it to the residents, to their children, to their grandchildren. We owe them nothing less. We need a conversation as to what type of a city we want to be. And importantly, how do we get there? We have great property owners in our city, but they do not always know what is in their best long-term interest. We're not their enemies. For far too long, we've been looking at downtown in the same way over and over again. Provide parking, that's the mantra, provide parking. And we've been expecting that downtown to grow, only to see it shrivel. This is the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If everyone is willing to put in the effort, I hear Councilman Sanchez saying that, we can all succeed. Great new ideas can come forward, and existing concepts may get some traction. On the city side, I've heard the following suggestions, which I'm going to mention. We, the city of Hartford, can lead the way by building on the lots that we own, like the lot on Sheldon or behind the Marriott Residence Inn. We could enact a moratorium on new surface lots. We can provide a per parking space fee in any ordinance so that a 1,000 space parking lot does cost more to operate than a 100 space parking lot. We could incentivize new creative uses of surface parking lots with tax relief or grants from the money we collect. We could turn it right back to the operators. We can continue to open streets, and by that I mean close them. Pratt Street is often closed to cars. Other streets should follow. We can investigate demand-based pricing to get more when the demand is high and less when the demand is less. We can continue to expand the parklet program that allowed Jerry's Cigar Shop to have a living room and Peppercorn to have outside dining space. We can review our licensing to make it easier for vendors of all types to use parking lots to sell. I'm sure that there are more and better ideas. So look, let's not lose momentum. Let's commit to these conversations. And to the public who's watching tonight, hold us accountable. Demand to know what we have done to advance these concepts. Ask your NRZ to request a report from the city on progress. But buttonhole the mayor. Email your favorite council member. I'm john.gale@hartford.gov. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Councilman Gill. Councilman LeBron.
Thank you. Through you, Madam President. I want to acknowledge my colleague, Councilman Gale, for having the courage to bring this issue and continue the dialogue, which has sparked the topic and putting it on the city council agenda. I think as a result of his actions, now this has become something tangible and something real. One of the things in my history or in my experience in terms of politics and community organizing has always been to galvanize the community voice. I admittedly, on this end, have neglected a key significant stakeholder in my thought processes. In my history, I've always galvanized folks from lower socioeconomic status, disenfranchised folks who are normally viewed on the outside of agendas, and have mobilized communication efforts and again, rallying to support those voices. I admittedly state that going into this, the community voice was lost, and the community voice in this experience was the business voice. So how can I on one end come to the table saying that we need all voices, but yet in terms of a resolution or any kind of movement, neglect the very voices that this is going to have an impact on? I want to say this out to the community. Oftentimes when I've heard and spoken to community members, there's this thought process as if making money is wrong, or that to make a profit is wrong. I want to push back on folks, and that business is important, whether it's small business or what have you. And that, even within our own households and our own economics, we have to make money in order to survive. But I agree that we need to further define the plan. There needs to be more dissemination of information accordingly. And most importantly, in agreement with Councilman Gale, we must keep this topic in the public eye. So please, hold your favorite councilmen or councilpersons accountable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman LeBron. Councilwoman Bermudez.
Thank you. I agree with everything that Councilman Gale has mentioned, and it's the reason that I jumped on to tonight's call, even though I feel crappy because I have COVID. Be careful out there, everybody. Wear your mask. But in reference to this particular item, because I wholeheartedly agree with everything that Councilman Gale has mentioned, and the main point is, how are we going to plan for Hartford's future? That is the main point of this. And so with that, I will not be agreeing to postpone this ordinance indefinitely. I think Councilman Gale touched on every single point and articulated it in a way that that really speaks to the importance of passing this ordinance. That's all.
Thank you. Are there any other further comments? Okay. I just want to, speak to my colleagues on the screen, and also to the members of the public that are watching us. This ordinance, was discharged favorably from committee back to council, back to committee. And now it's taken the course of being postponed indefinitely. And just like Councilman Gale just said when he read Robert's rule, what does postpone indefinitely means? It means that the ordinance does go away. And I have to say that I have had many conversations with parking lot owners, with small businesses, and I've heard their side. The one that I paid most attention to was the community that started to call me elderlies that did not understand the impact of this ordinance in what I call their pockets. Sometimes we get on this screen and we talk with big words that our community doesn't even understand. So I'm asking my colleagues to please know your audience. And I always remember a week ago, an elderly person who still drives, who has gone to Social Security now through COVID on appointments. And he said to me, Council President, you know, is this going to be a rate increase when I go to pay for parking? He gets a little check from Social Security. So to us, 25 cents a dollar might not actually make a difference, but to an elderly, it does. So I am taking the stand that I do support Councilman Gale on this ordinance. However, until we sit down and we talk to everyone who this is impacted by, and we get a report back from the parking authority, the parking study, and we have to have the necessary conversations at the table. I will support Councilman Gill. I will support whatever outcome comes. But now during a pandemic, I personally do not want to put any more stress on our elderlies and on the rest of the residents of the city of Hartford. So with that, if we don't have any more comments or discussions, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll on the motion to postpone this indefinitely, please.
Yes. Councilwoman Bermudez.
No.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
No.
Councilman LeBron.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. This concludes our agenda for this evening. I want to thank my council colleagues, the members of the public. I believe we're going to have some snow tomorrow. So everyone stay safe and good night. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a good night.